Hi class, I hope you to have done the research that I told you to do last class. It's about the greatest leader, Ratan Tata. I'm gonna give you a brief introduction about him, then I'm gonna ask you two a little questions. So, you ready?
Yes.
Alright. Ratan Tata started working in the shop floor of Tata Steel in 1961. He starts with the working class. Then became the CEO in 1991. So after 30 years, he's from the worker to become a CEO. And he retired in 2012 because he wants to see if the company can run properly after he left. And he's not only businessman, but also a board member of a few universities, such as Southern California University, Harvard Business School, and the University of Cornell. Then let's talk about the criteria that I asked you to do down the research. So Kai, what do you think?
Well, I have a few criteria that I think are really important when considering the greatest leader. The first one has to do with having a global aspiration when it comes to doing business. So under Ratan Tata's leadership, the Tata conglomerate expanded internationally, but before this, their activities merely focused on exports. So Tatas have achieved this internationalization through partnerships and mergers and acquisitions. For instance, they've acquired Tetley Tea, they've created a partnership with AIG, they've merged with Chorus, and they've acquired car manufacturers like Daewoo, Jaguar, and Land Rover. So all these moves have improved the group's competitiveness and it's streamlined their business, which means they have 31 public companies that have a market capitalization of just under 80 billion US dollars. So what do you think, Shipra, in terms of criteria?
I think one really important criteria would be creating quality and value for money, because as we all know that there's no good business organization wherein the product is not of good quality and does not have value for money. After saying this, I'll give you a few examples of how Ratan Tata fits into this criteria. He came up with this idea of having the thinnest watch, which is known as Tata Titan, and surprisingly, it was priced really low, and people really liked it. And he also came up with the idea of the Tata Nano, as we all know, and that's the cheapest car, I think, all over the world. And one really important innovative thing that he'd come up with was Tata Swatch, which is a home water purification device that did not work on electricity and would cost about less than 1,000 Indian rupee, and that's less than 20 Canadian dollars. And that would work for 5 members in the family. So this shows that creating quality and value for money is an important aspect of Ratan Tata's vision.
Nice, Kai.
Well, another criterion that I find really important is creativity and innovation. Ratan himself says that creativity is the nucleus of business excellence. So it's this belief that has led to some really innovative Tata products, like you've already mentioned the Tata Nano, which was developed because he saw a family of 4 traveling on one scooter. So after seeing that, he had a vision to develop a safe transport alternative in the Indian market by creating a car for middle-class families. But he's also developed a Tata Swatch, like you've already mentioned. So he's really good at seeing gaps in the Indian market and responding by creating products that fill that gap. So do you have any other criteria?
I think there's one really important criteria, that is being people-oriented. You can't be a good leader if people don't like you, if people don't connect with you. And Ratan Tata fits into this criteria really well. When he has a vision, he makes sure that everybody in the organization believes in it and follows it.
Yes.
He is not only people-oriented in business sense, but also social sense. Just for an example, let's talk about the terrorist attack that happened in Mumbai in 2008. Ratan Tata personally visited the families of people who were affected, and he continued paying salaries to the affected employees. He also provided their families with food, water, first aid, sanitation, and education to their children. So I think this is one really important criteria that makes him one of the greatest leaders.
Yes. So Kai, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I think that's a really good example of how he's people-oriented, but it's also a really good example of the final trait of how he's socially responsible. So he does this by creating products that are genuinely beneficial to the consumer. So not only has he developed the Nano and the Swatch, but he's also created software to teach illiterate adults how to read in 40 hours. So this is really beneficial because it can increase India's literacy rate. But he also has a really strong sense of integrity because he's always stood out against corruption in a really public and consistent manner. And he also has a really strong sense of values because the company values are faith, reliability, and service to the nation. So these are some of the criteria that I think are really important when you consider the world's greatest leader. And I think he meets them really well.
Yeah, that's excellent. You guys did a fantastic job of research. So I'm not gonna give you two a little bit hard time now because you said a lot of positive sides of Ratan Tata. But there's no man in the world is perfect. So I'm gonna ask you, what do you think about the negative sides of Ratan Tata? Shipra?
I was going through this article online and I came across this article which said that Tata Nano wasn't really positioned correctly in India. It was positioned as a poor man's car or people's car. And who would want to be associated with a low-end ride? We'd always, people would rather buy a premium car and buy it second-hand. And this is just because of the intense perception of class position in India. Also, there were a lot of incidences about Tata Nano catching fire. To this, Ratan Tata reacted immediately and comprehensively, and the car is now safe to use. He put up a team to investigate the fire incidents. This initially led to a decline in the sales of Tata Nano, but after the investigation and when it was found out that there was no problem in the car design, it was the problem of the faulty starter motors, he got the entire batch replaced. So I think these are the two negative things about Tata in general.
Yeah, it's good. It's excellent. So, Kai, any
So,
questions?
It could be said that Ratan Tata has referent power due to how his employees identify really well with him. And he also has legitimate power because of his status and authority.
Yes.
And he also has really good conceptual skills because he can create and communicate his real vision and strategic plan to everyone really well. So knowing this, what specific leadership theory do you think best describes what kind of leader Ratan Tata is?
Well, I think the five trait approach can best describe Ratan Tata. The five traits contains intelligence, self-confidence, determination, integrity, and sociability. For the intelligence, Ratan Tata has created a lot of products such as Tata Swatch, Tata Nano, Tata Titan. They are kind of high-tech products. I think those products are expressions of his intelligence. And for the determination, for the self-confidence, even when he was dealing with the large multinational enterprises, his company is just a local corporation in India which has no experience with expanding in the world, but he was confident about expanding, and he did it. And about determination, even though his Tata Nano project was doubted, criticized, quality problems were detected, he still insisted on carrying out the project. He's not giving up for bringing benefits for Indian poor people. And for integrity, just like I mentioned, he's strongly against the corruption in India. And there were no negative financial records during his career. We can see he has a strong sense of integrity. And when we talk about the sociability, we need to focus on what did he do for helping people. And all the products that Tata has invented or developed has one common features. Their price is extremely low, very low. It means his target market is just poor people in India. That he can help people through selling them a bunch of cheap but useful products. So I think he has strong sense of sociability. That's all. Thank you. Any comments?
So just to be clear, Tata is the world's greatest leader because he meets the 5 major leadership traits.
Yes.
And because he fits the 5 criteria of having a global aspiration,
Yes.
Creating quality and value for money, being creative and innovative, being people-oriented, and having a sense of social responsibility.
Yes.
Okay, well, you've convinced me that Ratan Tata is without a doubt the world's greatest leader.
Shipra, any?
And I've always been admiring him.
Thank you.